State went back and forth for 4 sets. In the fifth and deciding, the Mystics dominated 15-4. It's the second time around the Mondack for the volleyball teams, and tonight they're playing at the Armory. The Mystics would build a nice lead in the first set as BSC goes outside right here to Keaton Piercy, and Piercy will take that kill and find the floor with it. The lead is 5, but the lead, well, it would not hold up. Williston's Sam Timmerman's part of a first set win for the Tetons. It was 25-19. In the second set, Bismarck State working the middle here, but Williston State's Madeline Mullins is there for the block and the lead, but the Mystics would go to Brooke Haas, and BSC would win the second set, they'd win the third, they'd win the fourth. So the final here was 3-1, Mystics over the Tetons. Athletes never want to be injured, but if it happens, you'll be glad people like this week's Sports Spotlight are there to help. Jeff Roberts tells us about UMary's Ray Hall.
Ray Hall has lived a life filled with serving others.
Just seeing that success when they do come forward and you're able to help them out, that's the satisfaction.
He has spent decades as an athletic trainer. Just like most who work in sports, Ray played sports well into college.
Well, I initially wanted to follow my sports dream. You know, everybody's going to make it to the NFL or MLB. After my sophomore year, realizing I wasn't going to make it to the big leagues, I decided, okay, maybe education is where I need to go. So I transferred to NDSU, and that's where I graduated.
After graduating and moving away, Ray's North Dakota roots brought him back. He was the trainer for the Dakota Wizards in their championship years, began volunteering at sporting events where he resides in Center, and now he's become an integral part of the UMary hockey program.
You know, it doesn't matter if he's volunteering, you know, up at Center for his high school, you know, kids' games, or if he's doing our games or filling in somewhere else. I think that he really cares. More things get spilled in the athletic training room, so he has a pretty good insight of what's happening with our team.
Hockey was one of the few sports he hadn't worked with before starting with the team 6 years ago.
Once he became invested and he said, hey, this is my program, we're not sharing somebody else, we're not sharing multiple athletic trainers, you get a lot more out of somebody. And so you know that, okay, now we're going to get him.
The Marauders got a man who grew up in Berthold and knows not everyone in sports gets the same coverage when it comes to safety.
I've got a little soft spot in my heart for the small town. Growing up there, being a part of that, I know what it's like, kind of the struggles.
Despite years of service, Ray prefers it when he can fly under the radar.
If people don't know who I am, that's a good thing. Usually that means the athletes are healthy and safe, and the stories that you hear from the guys and get to know, all that stuff is a big part of why it's been a pleasure to work with, and I'm glad that I had the opportunity to work with some of those teams.
With the spotlight on Ray Hall for your news leader, I'm Jeff Roberts.
The Robb sisters from Heart River played their way onto the Class B All-State team. They both finished in the top 10 in the tournament this past week. And Megan is a sophomore, Molly's a senior. Also, South Border's Jeremy St. Aubin is the coach of the year. Dickinson's Sadie Stevenson is staying in the Queen City to play college basketball. The midget's sharpshooter announced her commitment to Eric Nelson's program today. The Twins will be in the playoffs next week. Tonight, they beat Oakland 6-4.